Hey everyone, how are you all doing today? I'm Bookish Nerdy Girl and welcome to my first ever YouTube book review. I've had a blog for about 2 years now. It's called Bookish Nerdy Girl as well, same as my YouTube channel name. Basically, I do a bunch of different stuff on it. I review books, I talk about different anime, I talk about collectibles like Funko Pops and just a bunch of new stuff that's coming out. If you want to check it out for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description so you can click on it and go check it out. Now on to why I'm sure you're all here, which is my book review video. And the book that I am deciding to review today is called Evading the Dark by E.M. Rinaldi. It's the first installment in her The Cross Chronicles. I usually try to keep my book reviews as spoiler-free as I can, but of course there are still going to be some little minuscule spoilers just to keep the review going, so I'm issuing a spoiler alert. Okay, so literally I looked up the book on Goodreads because a couple people had told me about it, and at first I was like, it sounds like it could be good, but I don't know, I had to check it out for myself. So I looked at the summary, and literally right after reading it, I'm like, I have to read this book. I love vampires, I love paranormal romance, I love fantasy, I love all that stuff. So I have to check out this book to see what kind of new spin they put on the stuff that I totally love reading and that I've read in a lot of other young adult fantasy novels. And man, this book was filled with drama, it was filled with romance, lots of magic, combat skills. It was totally awesome. It was totally like Vampire Academy meets Morganville Vampires, which of course that's why I loved it. The main heroine is a girl named Casey. She's pretty much just a regular human. She's a total outcast to the entire school. And the reason she's an outcast is because she has no magical capabilities whatsoever. She has totally awesome kick-ass combat skills, but if you ask her to perform magic, she can't do it. And because 90% of, if not 99% of the student body at the school can do magic, they totally diss her. They totally want nothing to do with her. She'll totally kick your ass for it, and she doesn't really care, but it totally sucks. Like when you're reading it, you just like, you want to slap all the other characters. Like, what's wrong with you? She's totally awesome. Like, shut up. And to add insult to injury, her mother, who is unfortunately deceased at this point, was one of the top guardians. Like, she knew how to do awesome kick-ass combat, and she had a ridiculously enormous magical skill, which unfortunately Casey did not inherit. And because of this, as I said, she gets picked on a lot. She's the total outcast of the school. She has her own room. She doesn't deal with anyone. Literally, like, pretty much completely by herself. Except for this one character. His name is Cedric. He's her best friend and also, of course, the love interest of the story. Wouldn't be a romance, a paranormal romance, if there was no romance in it. So Cedric is like the complete opposite of Casey. He's super popular. Everyone really likes him. He's really good in his training classes. Not as good as Casey because she's the top of the class, but pretty well up there. And on top of it, he has a huge amount of magical capability. Like, his fire magic is crazy. He can do all different kinds of it, from fireballs to like these huge like flashes of fire, all of it. You think of it, and he can probably do it. Like, seriously. So, I mean, it's totally awesome that they're like really close, really good friends. Like, he doesn't even go on vacation away from her in the summertime, which is, like I said, I think that's totally cool that they're so close. Fast forward to about halfway through the book, things are getting interesting. They're starting to get into a romance with each other. They're really starting to think, should we make it more than something, or should we just be friends? Once we get to about maybe a quarter of their way, halfway through the book, we meet another character, and her name is Fallon. Fallon is a fae. She's totally awesome. She's super bubbly. She's super nice, and she becomes Casey's like best friend. They have to room together, all kinds of stuff. So they just get really close. Of course, Fallon, the reason she's there and the reason she's outcasted by her fae community is because she has no control over powers. She has no idea how to use her powers or her magic at all. So she's extremely dangerous, which is why they had to put her in the academy away from the Fae Kingdom as well as far away from regular humans, because even though she's immensely, immensely powerful, she can't control it. So she can snap at any moment in time. Casey and Fallon end up becoming best friends. Like, Casey tells Fallon all her drama with Cedric, how much she cares about him, how she doesn't want it to ruin the friendship if they do decide to become more than just friends. And it's total teen stuff, you know. You think, oh, it's probably really boring, the plot probably lags and this and that. Trust me, it does not. Because that's what my first reaction to it was, is, oh, you know, maybe it's just gonna lag. It just sounds like a bunch of teeny bopper stuff that I'm not really interested in. Boy, can I say this happily, that I was so wrong, it's not even funny. Literally, once Fallon gets there, everything just, like, amps up to, like, 10. Like, Casey starts noticing these weird things where she's passing out, she's having visions, people are following her. She doesn't know why. At first, she thinks it's a bunch of school kids and pranking her and stuff like that, and that's what I thought originally as well. But as you read the book further, all the things that are happening to her seem to be magically related, and we all know at this point Casey can't wield magic, so there's something secretive, something weird that is totally going on that she needs to figure out, but no one will tell her anything. She remembers, unfortunately, the fact that her mother passed away. She was there when her mother was kidnapped and she was murdered. She doesn't know who did it, and she doesn't know why. All she knows was her mother was a super powerful guardian with a crazy amount of magical capability, and on top of it, she never knew who her father was. So as she's starting to unravel the secrets her mother tried to keep hidden from her, she starts finding out things, and then that's when the dangerous villain comes out of nowhere and is like, oh, you know, I'm basically gonna pull whatever I think is out of you, like whatever powers or anything I think you might be capable of, I'm gonna try and pull out of you. Needless to say, this said villain is like Maeve level quality when it comes to evil from Throne of Glass. I mean, like, this person is just terrible, like really, really terrible. And of course the person's in a position of power, because that's how it always is, honestly. No matter what book series it is, it's always that villain who has the most power that is like the most evil person on the planet. So we finally figure out who this big evil baddie is, like what Casey's going through, her destiny, all that stuff, and then it leaves you on a cliffhanger. And now, if you're a book nerd like me or a bookworm and you come across a cliffhanger, sometimes it's good and you're like, okay, whatever, like it was a good cliffhanger and I can see why they did that. Other times you're like, WTF? Why did you just leave me on a cliffhanger? I need to know what just happened. Like, why are you doing this to me? Well, unfortunately, this book totally gives you a WTF cliffhanger. Well, I think it was totally a smart move to do that for the second book. I was still like, oh. So if you're someone who doesn't like cliffhangers and just like totally bums you out or just completely disinterests you from the series, it might do that. I would still suggest reading it because this book was really amazing. It was totally worth it. The characters are all great. The chemistry the characters have with each other against the rest of the school, the villain being tied in as the way they are is totally awesome. And it's just overall a really, really awesome book. I totally give the book 5 stars. The plot and the pacing was totally awesome. You know, the big bad threat of the possibility of like vampires coming to attack their campus and all this other stuff was totally awesome. The prospect in the constant like danger or possible adrenaline mixed in really well with the plot, and the subplots of like the romance and the school aspect also did a really good job fitting in to the plot in the main storyline. For me, I have to say I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely. It's definitely a book that's worth reading. If you're into series, definitely continue reading the other books. I have read the second book. The third one is not out yet. Um, but you can check out her website. She has the links to all her books that she's written. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get them on Amazon for free and just borrow them. But I would definitely suggest reading this book series like as fast as possible, because if you're, especially like if you're a fan of The House of Night or Vampire Academy or Morganville Vampires, I would definitely suggest reading this because it's very fast paced like all those books, and it has the romance aspect as well as the different types of creatures like the shifters and the vampires and the fae and the humans and witches, and it has all that awesome stuff. So I would definitely check out this book. And if you if you happen to enjoy this review, don't be afraid to hit that like button down below or that subscribe button. You can also check out my social media channels. I'll leave links for those as well. And I just hope that you all really enjoyed this video. I loved talking about the book, as my name says, Bookish Nerdy Girl here. And I hope you all have a great day, and see you soon, hopefully.